would promote Sebastian from panelist to moderator. Let's see if it was enough to put him for 35 minutes on stage for the marketing session. And this is really, really what I think, as I announced already, a very, very nice session on psychological analysis of how we bring heat pumps more to the center stage of the public attention, on how to find people that are open enough to try something completely new, not only taking a photo of the heat pump on green grass and saying this is a great heating device. So, Sebastian, I don't need to introduce you again. Please entertain us.
Today, our last session will be a bit different because we're talking about marketing, which is pretty different to the regulatory stuff we talked about earlier. And today's topic is power of branding in building trust for heat pumps. Because we all know the problems if we have a lack of trust with heat pumps and the risks of poor public perception. I don't need to tell you. We just have to remember our statement, or the statement I hear a lot, heat pumps can't be built in old building stock, which I hear really every day, twice or more. So that's why we have a really, really important role of marketing departments today for the market ramp-up. And today in this session, we're going to talk about the challenges of marketing from a scientific and psychological point of view. And we structured the presentation or the talk a little different. Today we have a presentation and afterwards a little talk and some discussion with you. And I'd like to introduce our speakers today. First, Rainer, please. Rainer Busch from Bosch. Please come up. You can all come up. I think it's easier than we don't need. Hi, hello.
Hi.
Perfect. So, Rainer is the director of the global brand management at Bosch Home Comfort, and that has been Bosch Thermotechnik for the ones you know. He has experience from several high management positions in product management and brand strategy, and right now he's focusing on making Bosch brand strong for heat pumps. And then we have Oliver Spitzer. He's the managing director of the Market Research Institute September Strategy and Research in Cologne. They specialize on in-depth psychological research as well as emotional research. And today he consults mostly on applied emotional research. Then we have Eva Bock. She's a psychologist with 10 years of market research and consulting experience. And she focuses on human-centric thinking and brand and product development. And you'll hear today from her about the inner child as the most important stakeholder at the table. So, Oliver, please start.
Thank you. First of all, I have to commit to you that I have no clue what the fuck you're doing. My brain started melting today. So many policies, so much technology. But what I know is that you're fighting the wrong battles. We have the big issue that people don't want to care about what you do. It's not that they don't care, they don't even want to care. And I'm not that optimistic that policy will change this. Politicians, thank you. Politicians aren't known for, or as the best persons to make people care. So perhaps we need another perspective on renewable energy and renewable and heat pumps. But I want to give you a little example why brands are important and why you should think much more like branding your business instead of building heat pumps or getting skills into people. And for this example, I want to talk about my second business, because if all this research stuff will not work out, I sell homegrown cucumbers for 19.90. Savina has a little stuff out there. Anybody interested? Just, no? I would ask to show a finger, but I'm afraid of the fingers. Okay. Don't worry. I listened to you all day. I gathered some arguments. It's suitable for modular cooking. It's environmentally friendly.
I buy it.
You one.
Finally.
See how far we can go. It's grown with extra little CO2. Very extra little CO2. Sorry. No skills needed. You can just peel it, eat it. Now anybody cares about my cucumber business? Damn. 2 days and I've learned nothing. But you could tell me that my product sucks. But I beg you differ. A cucumber for 1990 is not even a problem to sell. Here in Brussels, more or less the normal price, but we come from Cologne, there are different prices. The problem is the marketing. And I made the campaign, and I will show it to you in a second, and all of you will want to buy my cucumbers for 1990. And it looks kind of like this. Cucumber, what else? Body and soul. And the joke here, do the math. A kilogram of normal coffee versus a kilogram of Nespresso matches the price of a cucumber for 1990. We are this stupid. We buy cucumbers for 1990 or we buy coffee for this price. Because of what? Because of marketing. Because of emotions, not because we are so intelligent and somebody explained how good these cucumbers are. And the CEO or the CMO, marketing officer of Nestle once said, fuck coffee, there's enough coffee on the market. Let's talk about emotions. Let's talk about the inner child of the customer. And this is our job as psychologists, neurologists, whatever. We take care about this instance in us that we call the inner child, just to give you a picture. And in the past, we're together with Rainer and Bosch, we did a study for installers. And we went out to search their inner childs. It wasn't that easy. Because this, more or less, is the target group. Sebastian, could you line up for it?
I see myself on Monday.
Perfect.
We want to fascinate you. It comes later.
Your future employees.
Yeah.
And as psychologists, we have some kind of interview reflexes. If you tell me something, I will always ask, how does it make you feel? That's not a good reflex if you're talking to this audience. So we heard stuff like inner child, emotions. I'm not sure, I don't have an inner child. Maybe I ate one once. But it's not that they are so extremely close to their emotions. So we had to use a different method. I will not explain the method, but we are able to measure emotions by bodily reactions. We measure what your facial muscles do. We measure your heartbeat. We measure your blood volume. It's like a lie detector on speed. And for this method, or we used this method to test an idea Bosch had at this time, because Bosch wanted to reframe or rebrand some old brands. Junkers in Germany, Wooster in the UK, because these brands are a little dusty. These brands don't look like smart home, digitalization. The customers perhaps don't know them as well as Bosch. And obviously they are not. They are the past. They do not feel like future or renewable energy. So why don't just get rid of the brands, write Bosch on it, and we're done. And if you ask the installers, you will get a pretty easy answer. I don't care, as long as I get the same money. I don't care what brand is written on it, as long as it's the same technology and the same money. Do whatever you want. But we produced some fake news and tested it. And you have to remember that what people tell you is not what they actually feel. Of course not. And we tested what they actually felt by fake news. We wrote a newspaper article, how Junkers became Bosch. So we wrote different articles about this brand change. They've never seen the light of day in a newspaper. It was just for a test setting. And then we measured the emotions the audience, the installers felt while they read the fake newspaper article. And all the colorful lines are the emotions. And in the moments we talked about the future, they all laughed so much because it's the future. We talked about connectivity, about smart home, about electronic competence of Bosch. They hated it. The distress goes up, the trust goes down, the skepticism goes up. They are really, really emotional about the topic of Bosch taking away Junkers and writing Bosch on it. Even if they told us, they wouldn't care. So our recommendation, sorry for that again, could only have, or only was, go back to the office, pull the plug. We can't do this brand switch, no? Like that. And we need to find out why are these installers so emotional. And we found out why they are so emotional. And this is still true today. From the outside, so not the inner child, but our outer part, we present the world, installers look like this. They tell us, yeah, I don't care, I love new technology. Most part of the day, I'm on the laptop anyway. I programmed my own website. So they like technology, they like smart home, they understand it's the future. But remember, they don't do what they say. And on the inside, they look like this. They are Prince Charming, rescuing the freezing damsel. Because we asked them, for example, what does your typical day look like? We know what their typical days look like, but we ask anyway. What did they tell us? It's 3 o'clock at night. And a customer, always a female customer, calls me on my emergency phone, like Batman. And her heating is down. She's freezing. And then they jump in their car, run to the damsel in the fortress, and make fire.
Boom.
It's absolutely true.
They love it. And after they expect the reward, of course. They always told us in this voice, and then she made me a coffee. This is, for German installers, their picture of their job, the hero picture of themselves. And the idea we wrote down in this newspaper article was kind of like this. Connectivity, smart home. You don't have to make fire anymore. You get a pink tablet and just need to put in some codes. That's not making fire. That's not installer worthy. That's not the hero there used to be. And this was the insights we gave to Rainer. And we had two recommendations. Whatever you do, please make it muy macho. Whatever it is, the inner child is a hero, is a macho. Make it muy macho. And the other part, and this is true for all of you, rethink who you are. Because in our story, we are always the hero of our own story. But if you think about working together with installers, they are James Bond. They are the hero. We have to be Q, building the rocket launches, but not stealing the Bond girl. So we have to improve James. We have to improve the hero and make him even more macho, more sexy. And Rainer and his team made or fulfilled this promise by, I will say, 110%. And for example, built the 5-meter installer hero.
I can tell a little bit of the story. So we get a briefing of Oliver and said, okay, we need to honor more our customers. So install is our hero. Then the agency come with a window puppet, so 1.50 meters, and I laughed. It was David Alaba with Bayern Munich shirt on, and I laughed. This is not a hero, this is a window puppet. And I said, pay attention. The idea is we built up this monument, 5 meter high, whatever tons weight, and we really did it like this. It was in the ISH 2017. And now it's in the Bernau plant, besides the entrance, and it's still alive. So it's still this monument, this emotional speech that we have, and they liked it. They take selfies of the hero and group photos. So it was really amazing how they reacted, emotional.
Extremely engaging, such a little 5 meter idea. And Rainer and his team did a little film, very subtle, to show the Q James Bond idea. Perhaps we just show it and you try if you can figure out the subtle codes of James Bond and Q positioning. Of course, this is what your normal installer looks like. They didn't do a casting or anything, it's just random installer. And he fails defusing the bomb. But then he meets Q. And of course, Q has a secret basement. Q delivers the new technology, the new rocket launcher. And the rest of the film is mostly the biceps of the installer. Wait for it. We told to make it muy macho. And with the new technology, the new weapons, he became even a bigger hero, who now is able to defuse all the bombs at the same time. And if you have the technology, the only thing a hero needs is an audience. She loves him, he loves him, everybody loves him. And this, by the way, was the only mistake of the film, I think. Should have been Knight, and he should have knocked somebody out leaving the door.
Aston Martin and the other things afterwards we do
next
it.
time.
Next time. That was 2017, so some years before, and it goes on for sure. That was the film, and now we are in a completely another situation, but we still need a hero. So I know all the headlines that are now in the newspaper. Also within Bosch, we had in the last 2 years a lot of topics, and I have not the headlines with me, but one chart that is impressive. What is happening in the last 2 years concerning end user. So it's the installer, we need to fight with the installer. We sit here all in one boat, by the way, if it's Wisman or the others and we sit in one boat, and there is coming the end user with many questions to a market that was 10 years more or less sleeping, with not so many end user questions. And now we have 5 times more end user looking in the Google machine and searching for heat pumps. So these figures here, the green wave that is coming over us is the Google search for heat pumps in Germany. So that's showing the situation at the moment. It's summer, yes, at the end of the summer it's lower, but still it's a good indicator what is happening in this market. It's for heat pump, these are the applications for subsidies.
Put this a little further from you.
So better? Okay, so. And it's the selling figures, but the interest in the market is still there. So therefore, we still need this hero story and translate it for us in a different way. So it's still our bond installer, and we are still the queues behind the bond, and we must care about all the new topics and support our installers with hotline, with chatbots, so all the end user questions are with us as a manufacturer, and the hero needs support. So for 23 ISH, we created a new motto. It was einfach Klimaheld mit Bosch. So we picked out this hero story, developed it completely new, and we honored again our installer. So this was the new story here in the ISH 23, and we had 70,000 people on our booth stand. So it was really impressive how many people come to Bosch. Our Junkers brand is now Bosch, and how many people we attracted installer on this booth. So it was really impressive what happened there in this year ISH, and to meet the customers and to talk with them on eye level. That was also a big learning for us, not like a big Bosch as a manufacturer, but on eye level with the user, and to attract them in an emotional way. We did it also in other countries. Macho pictures, for sure. I would like it more diverse, but it worked. Also ladies wear the green T-shirts, and it worked also very well in this in other countries, like here a picture from UK. But a little bit down to earth, so this was big advertising. What's important, several people mentioned here that our job as manufacturer is training. So altogether we have a big topic to train the people, and since 2 years we invested a lot into concept development, UX also, how to provide more training and information towards installers. So since 1 year we developed then this Klimaheldenschmiede for us. So it's a complete new program, and you won't believe it. You talked about it takes several months to train the installers from boiler to heat pumps, and we do it now in 3 or 4 days. They are with us in the training center. We had now pilots with 50 installers, and after this 3-day training, there are certified heat pump installers. So it really works, because you said it, the technology is not so much different. It's not rocket science to install a heat pump. That's what they say also, and we help them into creating the right installation and process. We have champions there who do this in the half of the time with some support, yes, for sure. But after installing 10 heat pumps, they are 50% faster. So that's clear. So, but it's a lot of work for us, all the industry, to investigate there, to train there. We have 10 training center, 10,000 installer for the Bosch brand, 15,000 for the Buderus brand. In Germany, we know that we need 3, 4, 5 years to train the installer and make them fit, but we will never get more installers. So it's our job as manufacturer, and we paid this training. It doesn't matter who pays it. It's 500 euro, 1,000, doesn't matter. They are rich, the installers, and we must invest here also in this. So as manufacturer, we pay for this Klimaheldenschmiede, we pay for the certificates. It's our job as manufacturer to build it up. It's also experience exchange, and and then we help them also with service. We have 200 service technicians out there in Germany, and for sure they don't do it on their own, so that they have help also from the service technicians. And the fun factor there for this picture is also very important to have then fun together. And last but not least, as I just show you the Google search figures, end user is still a topic. Also, attracting end user emotionally is a topic for all of us, not explaining technique. So that's not a topic, so we must show emotional picture about heat pumps, and heat pumps is not completely different. So also here, building up trust with end user, explain the things, not too technical, and therefore I brought our new Like a Bosch video with me and film up.
Smart heating uses air, cutting carbon, shows you gas. In the ground, there's energy to heat your home efficiently. Save energy when you're not home. With your app, you're free to roam. Hybrid system works for me. Boiler heat pump makes a team. Cool design, looks so smooth. We'll cut your carbon. What a move! Like a Bosch. Made for you, made for when. You're ready to use hydrogen. Oh my gosh!
Heat sustainably, like a Bosch, with many solutions for responsible heating. From Bosch.
Eva.
Yeah. So I will take the few minutes left that Olli has left me to give you a short glimpse into the future. Because, as Sebastian already said, it's not about fire anymore. Because there is no fire, no boom when you start the heat pump. But it's all about technique, a complex technique most of us, especially me, don't understand. So we have to say it's not about fire anymore, and that sucks. I think you said 75% don't want to have to do anything with all this new technology. So the question for the future is, what is the inner child need? What do we have to address when we talk to the installers and to the end customers to sell them the story, to make them interested in the topic of heat pumps without having to read 300 papers of instructions? So we digged a little bit into it, and there are a lot of fears, because when I had that gas boiler, I had an idea what's happening in there. There's a fire and there's water, and then I have warm water. Pretty easy. And I know if the fire is out, there is no heat. If the fire is on, there is heat. Today, there is so much technique that I don't know about. There's the fear that there can be an update and nothing works anymore. It's like with my car. I went with my car to the shop, to the garage, and I said, I think there's something wrong. And he said, I will do an update. And I thought, but it's my car. I drive it by myself. And he said, no, it's an update. I can give you any function that you want to have if you have the money. So there is something that we used to feel like we can touch it with our hands and work with it, and now it's only technique. So there is the fear, if there's an update, nothing works anymore. The second thing is, maybe there are so many devices. We talk about the Internet of Things, we talk about smart home, but what if the devices don't talk to each other? What if there is my heat pump and it doesn't talk to everything else in my home? Then there won't be warmth. And something like, we hear that sometimes in the interviews, China can turn off my heat pump remotely. So there is this fear of, this isn't at my home and then it's in my home, but there can be people from outside and get to it. So you see, there are a lot more topics that trigger our inner child that can be addressed in the future. But how? How can we get to that hero story that we talked about? And there needs to be an agile setting, and that's what I do the whole day. It's an iterative process. That means that you don't have that one insight and then build everything on it, but you go through that build, measure, learn loop, it's what we call it. So you start to gather insights, you talk to the installer, and he says, no, emotions, that's nothing for me. And you start digging deeper, find the inner child moments, analyze what you heard, and then build maybe a story, and then test it again. So the world is changing so quickly, and the internet and the connection of everything has made everything so complex that it's really important to get in touch with your target group once in a while and then start developing on that. And this is, I will take the last minute, what everyone can do, because I know there aren't a lot of marketeers here today. I heard you have so much knowledge. But what can you do tomorrow to address that inner child, to make people want that heat pump without knowing anything about the complexity? The first thing is always stay in touch with your target group, because they are the most important stakeholders. If you think about why are you doing that, why are you telling them something about heat pumps, is because you want them to want it. So you have to tell them a story that they sell, like the hero story from Bosch. The second thing is we are all humans with needs, fears, and inner child, even in our workplace. So it's no matter if we talk about an installer, a technician, everyone is a human being with emotions that need to be addressed to create value. And the last thing that everyone can do is that you notice that they don't have to understand the whole heat pump system. They don't need to know everything about it, but they need to feel it. They need to have that feeling of, I want to have it and I want to sell it because it gives me that feeling of doing something right or be a hero or something else. So it's even more important to give them a story that they can buy in instead of explaining them the whole system. And that is why it's so important to talk about emotions and to always, and then I'm at the beginning again, to always talk to your target group again to find out what story suits them well.
So, thank you very much for your presentation. Pretty cool, besides the hydrogen heating system. I just have two questions, because we don't have too much time. So the first to Rainer. Do we have a trust problem regarding the heat pump technology? And is that a European problem or a regional problem? How do you see it? Do you have quantitative data to that?
For me, it's not a trust problem. For me, it's a topic how to explain it to installers, to build them up. And for end users, they must understand a little bit more the regulation. So European-wise, we are a consumer brand now, more or less. I worked several years for a consumer brand. We have one message all over Europe, and not about complexity. You sort of like a Bosch film, it's about emotion, and therefore we sell the heat pump also in an emotional way. So the home gets warm with the heat pump, and we do it in an emotional way all over Europe without this and that country. So we sit in the same boat for that. And trust is, heat pump is not a trust problem. It's a problem how to transform the installers and how to build up the emotions with end user. Don't fear the technique.
Okay, and then we talked about that we have these challenges of public perception. And I'd like to ask you how to keep up with the brand despite permanently changing needs of our customers. What do you see? How can we manage that?
I think the first step is to understand the needs of the customers. And as if I showed the fears of the customers, because it's always easy to have an opinion and to think that you know what your target group wants, because as a marketeer or as a human being, you always have an idea of what other people might want. But as we've proven for the German installer, this making fire thing is a big issue. In the UK, for example, it is not. It's a totally different need because they have a total different heritage. In Germany, when you're doing your apprenticeship as an installer, at least a few years ago, you always worked with fire. You had to carry the heavy stuff in the basement. You have to what the fuck is löten? I don't know. You have to use all your tools and of course all the Bosch power tools only. And it was always a good idea to weld. Yeah. Weld. Thanks. Yes. For example, it was a good idea to have a piece of metal in the boiler, which only serves to be that you have to use your big power tool to screw it off and then plug in your USB stick. So just give the installer a chance to use his tools. And this kind of ideas you only get when you understand the inner child of your target group and not ask them what they want. They don't know what they want. And in the UK, it's not the installer who learned under an old grey man with a little belly who calls himself master. It's the handyman. He installs your cupboards, he installs your kitchen sink, and then he installs your little plastic boiler. It's a total different heritage. They don't want to make fire. They never did. So they have a different need. Their inner child has different wishes. So it's pretty simple if we talk about branding. It's always about understanding the needs and understanding them on a psychological level, even if this feels kind of fancy. We just need to understand it. And then stay up to date, because with new technology there come new fears, and with new fears there come new needs. So update your studies regularly.
Perfect. And thank you very much. That was a really nice conclusion and nice key take home way. And I'd like to thank you as well to stay awake and for the session. Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. I think you passed. You deserved your promotion. You can be moderating in the future.
Thank you.
All of you did really well as presenters. Oliver, I have no clue what you're doing, but you totally confused my mind now. So how am I supposed to summarize this? We started on the super high level. You know, we are discussing everything we do here is under a climate law that says CO2 emission 0 2050, right? And then we do some sort of backcasting. We say, fine, CO2 emission down. That means we cannot use any CO2 polluting substances that we organize under the ETS2. So then we have eventually a burden on the polluting fossil fuels. Then we have products that should be as efficient as possible, because somebody has said we do energy efficiency first. We don't do that, but we say it. And so we have an energy efficiency directive, and we have an eco-design directive, and we have labels for that. We should have looked at the labels, because I really think that no end user has ever looked at these labels and said, I want an A-labeled boiler. Which was the big fear of the fossil manufacturers. They said, if the A label ever gets yellow, nobody will ever buy a fossil boiler anymore. Now the A label is yellow, nobody cares, right? So that shows how important European policy is. And now we are going further. So since we have done all this, now we're looking at the substances F-gas. So how many of the end users has ever asked which refrigerant is used to operate their heat pump or their fridge or anything else? It's typically not a discussion that is at the end user level. You discuss if it works. So then I close my summary, because I can impossibly summarize all the things that have been done. We have luckily recorded everything, so we can take the main conclusions afterwards. But I do think that I bring it back to this idea of presenting heat pumps, and that's what we are doing at least to policymakers now. We say, this is a technology that will improve the comfort. It will improve your independence, your resilience against price shocks. It will make your life better and it's fun. And if I can take the example of my father is 83, is turning 85, he's just turned 85, and we wanted to bring a heat pump in his house. We have one of these houses where it really doesn't work. You know, feed temperature is too high, the radiators are not big enough, it can only be done with big things. So the fear of my parents is the installers will make everything dirty. So we don't want that. So in the end, we didn't do it. But what they did is, they did photovoltaic, because that gave them the additional benefit, the additional pleasure of saying, okay, every day I'm doing something better for the environment. What did they do afterwards? They got an electric vehicle. So now the photovoltaic charges the electric vehicle. The message here, you can do it. You can do something, it makes you feel better, and you're doing something good to the environment. Your life will be more resilient, more sustainable, actually more fun. With that, I want to close. I really think it was a great 1.5 days. Thank you very much for this insightful final minutes, and I wish you all a good trip back. We think we will do this event always at the last Wednesday, Thursday in September to make it really easy. And you know, September online. So we ask you back in 5 years. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, the audience. Have a good trip back.